Hi, this is just a little bit of footage that I've put together about the trip we did to Rondevlei Nature Reserve this afternoon. Rondevlei is in Grassy Park in Cape Town. The reserve is about 2.2 square kilometers and it largely comprises a vlei surrounded by coastal dunes. There is an information center comprising the Leonard Gill Museum. It's got a small aquarium with some of the local indigenous fish found in the vlei and a few live local snakes. The reserve also has a 45-seater conference venue and an overnight bush camp on the island in the middle of the vlei. There are about 226 bird species recorded in the reserve, 29 odd reptile species, and 24 mammal species, including hippo, caracal lynx, porcupine, Cape fox, kruisbok, steenbok, and mongoose. Rondevlei is not only about bird species, it also contains quite a bit of unique vegetation, the primary vegetation types being struntfelt and sandplain fynbos. The latter includes many endemic species. There's a lot of bird traffic flying in and out of the reserve. Here's a group of sacred ibis arriving and flying across to the island in the middle of the vlei. Here we've got a couple of white-breasted cormorant. There's a heartlub's gull walking in the front. Behind the white-breasted cormorant with its wings out is a sacred ibis, and in the front the brown bird preening is a glossy ibis. There's another sacred ibis standing at the back of the island, and over here on the left this bird drying its wings with a very long neck is known as an anhinga or snake bird. And right across on the left we have a couple of red-billed teal. In front of the white-breasted cormorants there are a couple of glossy ibis preening, and you can see from the iridescence on their feathers where they get their name from. Here is a hot white-breasted cormorant displaying what's called gular fluttering. It's almost the same as panting in a dog. This young glossy ibis is begging for food from the parent, which eventually regurgitates something to satisfy the youngster. The anhinga is extracting oil from the preening gland at the base of its tail onto its beak, which you can then see it smearing onto the neck feathers to keep it waterproof. A little grebe, previously known as the dabchick, diving for food. This gorgeous little malachite kingfisher is fishing from the reeds. Just take a moment to admire his beautiful colors. There's quite a contrast between the busy little moorhen in the foreground and the kelp gull sitting on the bank behind it. This red-knobbed coot was feeding right in front of one of the bird hides. This is some lovely footage of a juvenile purple heron stalking through the reeds looking for frogs, insects and that sort of thing. The anhinga or snakebird is a diving bird, so it's not very buoyant and swims very low in the water. All you generally see of it when it's swimming is its long neck and its head sticking up above the water. Cattle egrets are common local residents. I was trying to figure out why these birds kept picking up different pieces of reed, waving them around and putting them down again. I seem to think it might have something to do with actually being able to grab the piece of reed by its center of gravity so that when they fly off with it, it doesn't actually unbalance them when they're flying. Here's some sacred ibises on their roost, having a good preen and a good stretch. The Afrikaans name for the sacred ibis is quite amusing. It's a skoorsteenvee, which is a chimney sweep. Here comes a reed cormorant into land. They're quite distinctive in that they have a very long tail. Here comes a great white pelican. They're listed as near threatened, but they're reasonably common in and around Cape Town. Pelicans typically nest on predator-free islands in flays and estuaries, and you can see this bird is heading directly for the island in the middle of Rondevlei. Here's a black-crowned night heron catching some sunshine, sitting on a roost just above his nest. He was joined by the adult pair just a little while afterwards. This is the adult black-crowned night heron. And to end off our little trip to Rondevlei Nature Reserve, here are the two adult night herons together with the young chick. Cheers, till next time.